Testing. Got this thing has a. Excuse me. Got it out of microphone. It's a funny thing. Habits, man. You know, my drummer's been dead a long time. The one that died in my arms and said JJ, and his eyes rolled off to the sky, and I closed them and like, yeah. It's like been 20 years since we used to go out for bean and bacon burritos, like, and I still do it. What's that? What is that? Has nothing to do with them. I just really like bean and bacon burritos, and he happens to be the one that turned me on to them. And the time of night, that's just the time when I'm normally awake. Yo, man, whatever. Think what you want. I don't understand my mind. Do you understand yours? I try to understand mine. It's probably a little deeper rooted than that. I don't know. It's just a burrito. I should probably stop eating altogether, man. I'd probably, like, get rid of this spare tire, this bicycle tube. Whatever, man. Mm-hmm. Authentic Southwestern cuisine. Yo, man. There's nothing wrong with, like, canned refried beans. Like Rosarita refried beans, it's a brand name. Kind of like Chiquita banana, you know? Or Dole, for that matter, if we're going to talk nanners. But, you know, how about I talk about my nanner? I can't find a good picture. I have a good one, but she used to make her beans like, you know, the hard pintos, boil them until they're sufficiently beany and softy and stuff, and like then you mix in some snow cap lard and you cook it up just right, you know, like only she knew how to do. Yeah. And so what? So what? Look, authentic Southwestern cuisine. That's all. I feel pretty proud of myself. Oh my God, that's unique. I did some work, but I'm not done doing the work because it felt good to do what I did, but I'm not done. It's very difficult to get my kind of work done. I might as well get it all done in one day. I shared with you a freaking upload. Does this thing have a filter? This is a terrible microphone. I should have my good mic. I'm sorry, webcam. I didn't mean to disrespect you. You're fine, you know, microphone. You basically helped me out right now when I was too busy having that authentic Southwestern cuisine. It's probably like the first meal I've had in about 12 hours. It's okay. I had work to do, man. Sometimes you forget these things. When was the last time I slept? I forget that. I think I woke up around this time yesterday. You know, I can't say for sure. I don't remember. It's been a minute. Definitely been 1 minute. The times whatever. God damn, can I work this thing? Pete's sake. I promise this will be a good video. I promise you. Do you trust me? Do you trust me? I don't think you trust me. By the end of this video, you'll trust me. Maybe you won't trust other people, but you'll trust me by the end of this video. Have you ever heard the term bent over a barrel? Would you trust me if I was the only one that could free you from the barrel? You would, wouldn't you? So I'm a good guy. That's right. I don't really do harm if I can avoid it. So, and the thing is, This thing on? This thing ain't on. I'm such a dork. I'm all talking to it's not on. I notice things sometimes. Things like that. I sometimes do. Ooh. Testing. Is this thing on? Probably think I'm a real cocky son of a gun. Watch out. Son of a gun, superhero #1, right? That's no hero. That's just a dirty, filthy punk, right? Whatever, man. You don't know shit about shit, and I'm gonna show you you don't know shit about shit by helping my own people in my own weird kind of way. I got like 3 examples of this is really difficult. I've never done nothing like this before. I don't know if other people do shit like this. Just start already. I don't know what to say. I need a cigarette. I need a pain pill. It's gonna be worth it. I know it is, because it's ultimately like a lesson, like an instructional, like, dear society, this is how to not be stupid. I showed you the video, and I haven't gone to prison yet. Granted, it was local. I didn't have to cross state lines to hack that one voicemail box of that one company that's out of business, so there's nobody to press charges. Yeah, and so what? Fact of the matter is, I hack companies all the time, and I don't know how to deal with it because it's not in a bug bounty capacity. All right, motherfuckers. Some of us aren't that good with money. Some of us suck with money. Some of us operate on a different level. You know? What kind of level? I don't know. I probably need a doctor to tell me, because I know I've got a few diagnoses, like traumatic brain injury, learning disabilities, adult attention deficit disorder, like, and no hyperactivity about it. Usually pretty like a sloth covered in molasses. You know, I got the post-traumatic stress, I got the survivor guilt, not to mention severe drug addiction due to very bad injuries that were sustained when I got that post-traumatic stress and that survivor guilt. And, you know, society hasn't been terribly supportive of my endeavors. But, you know, I'm going to try to be different from now on. I'm going to try to ask for help, even though I don't trust anybody. I've never trusted. Trust is to be earned, not given. You know, man, I also do believe in varying levels of trust. Like, don't trust somebody as far as you can throw them, and then maybe build the trust from there. Yo, man, I don't know how much time I've got left on this planet. You know, let's say I live a really long time. Let's say I got 40 years left. That ain't enough. I got a lot to say. I don't know how much time this planet has. I don't know how much time this race has. So let's just get on with it. You know, if something bad happens to me, you know, that you'll kill my mother. So, you know, I haven't really done any harm. You know, I'm kind of like a doctor with a Hippocratic oath, except my patients tend to be like computer systems and songs. You know, I've had doctors do their best by me. Normally, you know, at least I approved. I said, you know what? Maybe you're not doing, you know, the best that you can for me, but guess what? I can only afford so much. And I know I'm severely damaged. So I'm going to go ahead and give you the benefit of the doubt that you're not going to harm me. Even though I don't want to trust you. Where'd my cigarette machine go? Damn it. You know, we all deserve a lot more. I know this, man. Because a lot of my close ones met an early end, right? I was working on the Bright Idea Records Bandcamp page, and it finally exists because I asked for help for once, instead of just not trusting you. And I figure maybe the fact I did that. Lead by example, they say, right? You know, I don't have a whole lot of it. Where's my freaking cigarette machine? I need some help here. Where's my cigarette? I'll help you, JJ. I'm your subconscious brain, and I have peripheral vision. I see what you don't see. Yeah, just give me my damn machine, man. What the fuck happened to my machine? It's the only way I'm gonna get a cigarette. I need a cigarette. Ah, for Pete's sake. You probably think I'm full of shit because I can't focus on much for very long. You know, I got my priorities. Helping you isn't necessarily my number one. You know, helping myself is probably my number one. And right now, I need to help myself find my goddamn cigarette machine, and then I'll get back to helping you. It's just like I say, an example. I hacked 3 different companies, and they all have to do with music, and the particular computer security vulnerabilities. It's kind of like, you know, the OWASP, you know, it's like the SANS. They're a part of the SANS Institute, right? Like the whole OWASP, Peros, Zap, and the top 10 list that gets released every year. You know, and all you followers and conformists, you pay attention to the top 10 list, right? And that's what you scan for and look for the most. Yeah, I have a top 10 list of my own. Believe it or not. Yeah, I'm kind of like David Letterman that way, right? Hey, somebody give me a card. All right, take 2. I'm kind of like David Letterman that way. Zing. Got my own top 10 list, and sometimes it coincides with theirs. Absolutely, man. Where do you think I got the idea for a top 10 list in the first place, suckers? Come on now. And you know, I've been doing this kind of shit since I was this tall. Back before I was over 18. You know? Back when I could get away with it, right? I don't know, man. I tried my best to be a security professional. I've also tried my best to be a music professional. I'm sure you give a little shit. You shit little? Man, this whole world's chicken shit. What I'm trying to say is like, hey, man, I just don't play ball the way you do. That's all. I got a different kind of like... You're playing baseball and I'm playing kickball? Something like that. That's a good metaphor, JJ. No wonder you make music. That's a good comparison. Yeah? Shall I keep going? No. Dodgeball. Red Rover, send Haxer Boy right over. Let me guess. I'm Haxer Boy? Maybe. You know, when I started working on SQL injections... You know, it was on the clock at a job, and like I got paid and I got thanked and I got employee of the month and all that shit. You know, and then I got laid off, and then what? And then I had a terrible accident and I didn't have any medical insurance to help me. And you know, it kind of leaves me with a bad taste in my mouth to think about it. You know, I had like people abandon me, very close people, the kind of people that you might have in your life the rest of your life. Some of them died, some of them left, some of them were just like totally confused at the Frankenstein brain trauma dude that came back. Dude, my brain is fine, okay? It needed it to be shook up a little bit. Everything needs to be shook up a little bit sometimes, and it's pretty obvious because like I've coasted by relatively easily for a good long time, and I didn't meet much resistance. And now that the internet is trying to be secure, it totally sucks. So how's about an expert show you a few things? You know, if I was making the Sans top 10 list, I would still put SQL injections on the list every goddamn time. Because, like, you know, I figured 20 years ago, when I discovered some of the very firsts, You know, I was going to DEF CON at the time, and there were a lot of people, kind of tapping into this thing, known as a SQL injection. It was new back then. And like I guess maybe they figured, maybe I figured, we all figured that we would be done with that bullshit by now. You know, sometimes it's legacy software that's still left running on the internet. Sometimes it's like what? Just like not fully tested and debugged, It might be a new dynamic web page. I don't mean dynamic HTML. I mean dynamic, like server side processed. Like back in the day, that would have been like a common gateway interface CGI kind of thing. But these days, it's usually handled by some kind of dynamic language, like a scripted web page language, like ASP, the active server pages. The JSP, Java server pages, might be handled by like, I don't know. I was working on the Cold Fusion pages at the time. Granted, PHP seems to be incredibly popular and has been for a good long time now because of its power, its ease of use, adaptability, learning curve being relatively low, and like all that. I mean, who doesn't love PHP, right? What does that stand for again? I always forget. It's something clever, right? Fuck. And yeah, you think I'm giving myself a big pat on the back for even doing this? Are you kidding? This is terrible. I'll never be able to hack these boxes I'm about to tell you about ever again. You know what I mean? Not that I've really had anything to do, like, on them. It's pretty much like a game of chess. Once you get root, it's like checkmate. The game's over, right? It depends on how you play it. I told you, I'm playing kickball while you're playing baseball. It's a totally different game, right? Yes and no. Yeah. What are these music things I hack? Like, well, like music software costs an arm and a leg traditionally. People like me, we're lucky if we're students and we go to college and get a student discount when we buy this overpriced garbage. And you know why it's overpriced? It's because they expect us to go into the commercial sector and make a fortune, all right? And they figure if they're going to make millions of dollars, well, we better get a big ass cut up front and charge $500 a pop. Everybody's done it. I think maybe companies like Adobe set the standard, way back in the day with what, the Photoshops and the Illustrators, or what about, I don't know, the eMagic? Isn't that who originally made Pro Tools and then it became Avid? And they've always charged a lot of fucking money. You know how desperately Zot the Avenger wanted to be a professional videographer? You know how desperately that young teenager, and I almost went to a high school, the one my mom went to, because they had the best magnet school AV department in town, but I didn't really live in the right neighborhood. It wasn't really convenient. It really didn't happen. Even though I did go across town to my girlfriend's at school, and gave an AV class. I taught a class on the bullshit, but I still couldn't get access to good equipment. Does that make sense? I don't know, man. I guess times are different now. Yeah, maybe they are, but, I'm not a 20-year-old. I'm a 40-year-old, and I'm kind of old school, and I kind of feel like a caveman, like a middle-aged man, maybe like a demolition man, like an antique, like I'm antiquated, like Kitty has been declawed. I don't think so. Here, I want to rub this in the face of the software companies I hacked. I don't even know if I'm prepared. Let me get my Linux drive hooked up. That's a good idea. This is so stupid, JJ. Pull out while you can. Dude, I'm in too deep, man. This stream signal is like... I'm uploading better than I have in a while. It's strange. When I woke up today, my internet connection wasn't even on. It's so strange how that happens sometimes. I wake up and it seems like my world is crashing down around me, but by the time I go to bed, everything's running better than I've ever known. It's the kind of thing that makes me not want to go to sleep. Because I'll wake up and everything will be back to where it was, you know? It's like a dream. And everything seems to be working out, you know? Whatever, man. Here, let's go into detail. I don't even remember how I hacked this first one. Maybe I should do that one second. I'm totally not prepared for this. It's so spontaneous. Why would I even do this? Maybe because I'm comfortable and I'm at home and, like, you know, I got my protection, and if anybody kicks in my door before the presentation is over, it's all fucked, you know? Maybe I know I get the last word, the last laugh, and basically I'm not out to commit harm. So maybe that's why I'm comfortable being so damn amateur. Hey man, I'm a professional amateur. And don't forget it. Alright? Like, I wouldn't work for a company that would hire me. Obviously, they don't have a good background screening program, because if they knew what a fucking anarchist I was, an individualist anarchist, exactly. Because I know what's best for me. You know? Anyhow. Take my time. Let me get this loaded. This won't take long. Here, oh man. Hey, have you ever wanted to know where Joe King from the Queers? Oh, excuse me, Joe Queer from the Queers. He lives in Marietta, Georgia. I would tell you the name of the street. I'm not going to compromise his privacy. Why would I know that? I don't know. Why do I know that the dwarves receive their mail through some chick up in Washington? Why do I know that? What about Bad Brains over in Washington, D.C.? What can I tell you about them? I'll get to it. Give me a second. You know, it's basically private information. You could probably buy it. You know, these days it's pretty easy to acquire private information if you got the money. It's silly, right? Because back in the day, Geraldo Rivera was really freaked out when his credit card number, or what, TRW report? I forget what it was. You'd have to look it up on YouTube. I've already forgotten more than a lot of people know. But, like, the thing is yeah, he was freaked out. But by today's standards, that you could buy that for probably like $20, right? I don't know. You know, no, sometimes you don't have to buy it. Like if you're the company that has it in your database, right? It's very difficult to convince me that we have privacy. You know, oh what? Just because we've secured our SSL and TLS protocols? It's like, man, there's lots of databases out there, and a lot of them are suspect to SQL injections. Like, watch. Have you ever used sqlmap? Have you? Let's just stick before I get to the juicy stuff. Let's do like the rudimentary 101 basics. Let me see. Because like you should all know sqlmap. It's old as fuck, right? I think like you all get to learn about it when you're doing your offensive security tests. You know, the 24-hour one, the OSCP. You all get to learn about it. Oh yeah, that's the database that I was running because I downloaded like 150 gigabytes. That has to do with like the freaking people I'm talking about, the rock stars. At least they're rock stars to me. They're punk rock stars. That's what motivates me, is the things that I dig. I could care less about you and your credit report. Yeah, it's like, man, I want trophies that I can hang up on my wall. You know, I could give a fuck about Kim Kardashian's TRW report. Man, I'm looking up my idols and my mentors. People like Joe Queer and, you know, Black Dahlia, you know, shit like that. Alright. And, it's just because, you know, I can, and I don't even mean to. It's usually I stumble into these situations by accident. And, oh, caps lock's on. I'm just a bumbling, kind of brain injured person trying to figure out the right thing to do in a very overly complicated world where everybody's got to be an expert to do anything. You got to be a lawyer to, like, get justice. You got to be a doctor to be healthy. You got to be a banker or an accountant or an investor to have money. And you got to be a computer scientist to have a secure computer system. You can't buy it, can you? That's kind of what I hope to embed. Maybe if we all could just like be cool, we wouldn't have to constantly be what? Not having bad health, having no money, having injustice, having espionage and insecure computer systems and massive data leaks where our entire identity system, like social security or something like that, gets totally compromised. Like when what's that company that starts with the letter E totally dropped the ball? Like, why aren't they bankrupt? Probably because they have so much money they don't have to go bankrupt, right? Even though they deserve to. What a major fuck up. What was it, like 100, 200 million people's private information? That made the cover of 2600 magazine, in case you forgot. I can't believe that company's still in business, and I can't believe you still trust them. What about the banks? Like what? Should I mention the names? What about that one that starts with a W? That one that starts with a C? You know? What about it's like so many of the companies that matter to me died in COVID-19 lockdown era, because they couldn't sustain. Meanwhile, these mega corporations sustain, even though they don't deserve to, but they had the money, so they continue on. Yeah. Sometimes I think that, like, the core values need to be rewritten. If you're not familiar with core values, here, let me make sure my sqlmap is up to date. I'll tell you more about core values. Yeah. Update. That's it. I got hired when I was 17 years old because I fell in love and I wanted to be an adult, and I gave up on my dream, my video games and more TV show, so I could be an adult. And what did being an adult get me? Basically ruined my life, you know? That's great. People sometimes say, hey, stay a kid as long as you can because it only lasts for so long. And of course, kids say, fuck that, man, that's bullshit. I want to be an adult right now. I want to be partying. And it's like, kid, maybe things are different now. Maybe you can be, maybe you can be yourself a little bit better. Back in my day, it wasn't so easy, and I wouldn't recommend going back to my day. But then again, I wouldn't trade security for a nanny or like lack of security for like over secure, like a nanny state. I wouldn't trade freedom for a nanny state any day of the week. I would take the freedom because that's kind of what that's kind of what people fought and died for. And I've got more ghost friends than I got real friends these days. So, it's a careful balancing act, to say the least. Whatever, man. It's cool. So this is how the sqlmap works. My favorite way to use it is very simple. It's not a complicated program. Sorry about my display. Let me fix that. It's very simple. I know that it has a million options and arguments, just like any other, command prompt console style shell program. Yeah, a whole lot of arguments, just like most people have a whole lot of arguments. And some of them make sense, some of them don't make sense. You like my metaphor? I'm a bit of an artist. And the only argument that really matters is that one, really. Because, like, if you got your sqlmap -r, blah, 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 yakety, smackety, blah, 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 nice, tall, cool, refreshing glass of OJ dot text, you know? Granted, most people wouldn't be as stupid as me. They would just call it something like, you know, I think like a lot of times I call mine referral, like refer, or wait, is it restore? You know, reference. You know, let's just call it r dot text. All right. Where do you get your r dot text from? I like getting mine from a little program that seems to be locked up right now. That's too bad. I was doing some crazy shit earlier. I guess I must have ate up all my RAM when I was running dbeaver on this massive database. Go figure. I'm so crazy. I was so brain damaged. It's okay. I got little reason to live, like, you know, except for the fact that I love life and people and music and computers and freedom. So, like, I guess I got a reason to live, even though I'm kind of miserable a lot because of my problems that nobody helps me with. It felt good to get a little bit of help with my problems today. Come on, program. Damn, it's really locked up. Son of a... hold on, I got this, I got this. You are the one to abuse. That was the answer to my tweet earlier where I asked, hey, are there any other pop culture references in this 3-minute video clip? And the answer was Days of the New, that song where he's saying, I got this time on my hands. I got this time on my hands. You are the one to abuse. That's the song. And that's the pop culture reference. Because whenever I say, I got this, you know I'm making a reference to that song, right? Damn, my shit's locking up hard. For all I know, this stream's not even happening. I'm gonna assume that it is. Okay? It's gonna have to assume. Granted, I hate doing that because it makes asses out of all of us. Oh wait, no, it's in my desktop. Yeah. Yeah, well, sometimes I make asses out of myself, so if you want to make an ass out of me, be my fucking guest. I got no pride left in the form of humility and shame. Or wait, I'm shameless. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm shameless. I got no reason for shame. I don't know if I ever did, but anyhow, you know, and I'm just like,